Are you looking for a stealth loadout that would let you demolish your enemies before they even realize that you're there? Are you tired of mindlessly shooting anything and everything that moves and instead would like to be a little bit more strategic with your gameplay? Do you want to clear objectives as quickly and as efficiently as possible and get 5 stars every single time? If you like the idea of any of these things, then this loadout might be for you. Hello everybody, my name is Marco. In this video, we're going to be playing with a loadout that is built around the Eruptor. It's an amazing new weapon that can be found in the Democratic Detonation Premium Warbond. Do take note that this loadout is more suited for when going against the Automatons. If you're looking for loadout ideas and strategies that you can use against the bugs, I have those in my channel. Do check them out, and if any of the videos were helpful, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Anyways, enough of the intro, let's dive right in. Like what I mentioned earlier, our primary weapon will be the R-36 Eruptor. It's a bolt action rifle, which means you need to reload after every shot. This explains the very low fire rate of 25. There is, however, a way on how you can bypass this. During the reload animation, if you switch to your secondary weapon and then switch back, you should be able to fire it again right away. If you're having a hard time getting the timing down, practice it in 3 simple steps. First, try shooting with the Eruptor, then switch to your secondary, shoot, switch back to the Eruptor, shoot again, and then do it over and over. When you get this down, the next thing you'd want to do is shoot with the Eruptor and then switch, and as soon as your hand touches your sidearm, switch back to the Eruptor and then shoot again. Once you're able to do this consistently, you can tweak your timing a little bit more so you can shoot faster. A quick word of advice though, I wouldn't get attached to this mechanic if I were you. I'm assuming this wasn't how the devs wanted the Eruptor to work, so it might get patched soon. The Eruptor has a damage of 380, and while it's not the highest, it's okay because it has both the medium armor penetrating and explosive perks. When you shoot the Eruptor, the target doesn't instantly get hit. The ammo has a little bit of flight time, so take that into account if you're shooting at moving targets. Upon impact, the ammo explodes and damages everything that's nearby, which is very useful when dealing with clusters of smaller units, one-shotting striders, and damaging heavy devastators through their tough armors. The effective radius of said explosion is about 10 meters, which is roughly the same as an impact grenade. Take note that if you shoot something within 10 meters, the explosion will, for some reason, suck you in, so try not to use this weapon in close range encounters. What sets this weapon apart is its ability to destroy bot fabricators and bug holes. A primary weapon being able to do this is a huge game changer because it allows us to use equipment that we normally wouldn't in our loadouts. Clicking on the first person view will allow you to look down your sight when aiming, and you have the option of switching the magnification rate from 50, 100, or 200 meters if you hold down the reload button. What I noticed from hours of playing with this weapon is that 115 meters is the sweet spot if you want to easily destroy a fabricator from long range. Trying to shoot the vent at any range over 120 doesn't seem to work, at least during the duration of my testing. The Eruptor can be found on page 2 of the Democratic Detonation Premium Warbond, and for the most part of this loadout's playstyle, we'll be using it as our primary means of clearing small and medium automaton outposts. For our secondary weapon, we will be using the P19 Redeemer, which is pretty much a submachine gun with its 1100 fire rate and light armor penetration. I prefer this over the Senator mainly because of how much easier and faster it is to reload. Whenever we need to deal with nearby enemies, we'll be using this instead of the Eruptor so we can avoid getting hit in the face with our own weapon. For a grenade, we'll use the G3 smoke grenade, which I honestly rarely use. The reasoning behind why we're using it this time is simple. Since we have the Eruptor, we won't need grenades like Impact and HE to close down fabricators. We also won't be able to throw stuns and thermites as much as we want to because most of our skirmishes will be from long range. So I thought smoke grenade is the way to go. After destroying a fabricator, the enemies would likely start shooting at the general direction of where you're at. If you throw a smoke grenade right at your feet and then run away and hide, you will see that the bots will keep on shooting where you used to be and where the smoke is at. We will use this chance to quietly escape and head on over to our next destination. The general idea of our stealth demolitionist playstyle is hit the objective from afar, disengage and hide, then head to and clear the next objective. Now let's take a look at our armor. We will be going with either the SC-34 Infiltrator, which can be found on page 1 of the basic Helldivers Mobilized Warbond, or the SC-30 Trailblazer Scout, which is on page 7. Basically, any light armor that has the Scout armor passive will work. Light armors will allow us to travel across the map quickly, and the Scout passive, which is very underrated, will let us do do two things. The first one is it will allow us to hide from the enemies easier by reducing the range at which enemies can detect us by 30%. This, along with the smoke grenade, would practically turn you invisible. The second, and something that is really helpful, is it will ping you the location of the enemies on the minimap around your marker every 2 seconds whenever you add one. This way, your team can see how many enemies are in an outpost on the way to the next objective, or how many are approaching you from a general direction. To further enhance our mobility, the booster we'll be using will depend on which planet the mission is at. If it's a desert, snowy, or a planet with dense vegetation, or if there are planetary effects such as blizzards and sandstorms, then go for the muscle enhancement booster. Otherwise, our default will be stamina enhancement. Moving on to our first stratagem, we have the Lift 850 Jump Pack. Although we could have potentially used this slot for something a little bit more aggressive, the Jump Pack really helps in making this loadout feel more fluid. Getting into position as quickly as possible is key, whether it's getting over walls to call down hell bombs on gunship facilities, jumping over hills to escape, or quickly closing in the distance to throw a stratagem beacon. The Jump Pack gets the job done. And since we're in the topic of throwing beacons, I want to take a little bit of time in going over how we can do that more effectively. On average, if you throw a grenade or beacon at about a 45-degree angle, you will be able to hit a target that is more or less 40 meters away. Now, if we use the Jump Pack to jump straight up and then throw the beacon still at about a 45-degree angle, you would think that it would reach a further distance, but for some reason, at least during my testing, it still fell at around 40 meters. So what's the point of using the Jump Pack? Well, like what I said earlier, it's useful if you want to quickly close in the distance between you and the target. A running jump should get you anywhere between 20 to over 30 meters closer, depending on the elevation of where you jump from. So now that we know the numbers, to make sure that we hit the target, we should always mark them first. Anything around 30 to 40 meters away, you will hit with your stratagems for sure, because you gotta remember, the stratagems also have an effective radius, and we'll go through that in a bit. Do the same when using the Eruptor to snipe down fabricators. Again, 115 meters is a good range. One last tip, if there's a sandstorm, blizzard, or anything that limits your visibility, and you want to throw a stratagem at an objective, put a marker on the minimap. It displays how far the marker is from you. All you have to do now is jump pack straight up to avoid any walls or buildings and throw. For the next stratagem, we'll use the Eagle 500 kg bomb. In case we have a huge wave of enemies or a group of heavies running after us, we always have the option to throw this at them, but for the most part, we'll use this to clear large outposts. The blast radius of the Eagle bomb is about 20 meters, I believe, so throw your beacon up to 40 meters away, and mostly anything within 20 meters of where it landed will go kaboom. This Eagle stratagem can be used twice before needing a rearm if you have the expanded weapons bay ship module. Up next is one of my favorites, the Orbital Laser. The Orbital Laser is pretty much throw it and forget it. Aside from being able to clear a large outpost by itself, it's very good against the automatons for a number of other reasons. The first one is it's not affected by any air emplacements. Along with stratagem jammers, it will be a huge headache for you and your team if you go in a full Eagle loadout when there's any air emplacement side objectives. The second is it can take down factory striders, although it will pretty much use up all of its firepower on it. And lastly, it can destroy command bunkers. Command bunkers are very sturdy and can withstand any airstrikes you throw at it. The Orbital Laser is one of the easiest ways to knock them down. Make sure you save up your lasers for these buildings if you're doing the destroy command bunker missions, as you only get to use it 3 times. And lastly, we'll be taking a support weapon with us. I know a lot of you are Quasar Cannon fans, and you can totally use that, but you also have the option to use the EAT. There's pros and cons for both. For the Quasar Cannon, if you come across 2 or 3 gunship facilities right next to each other, you'll have enough firepower to drop the gunships because of the Quasar Cannon's unlimited ammo. Each facility could potentially spawn up to 3 at a time, so if you're using the EAT, you'd only be able to take down 2 before it goes on its 70-second cooldown, but by then you'll probably be dead meat since there's no way to outrun these. But at the same time, this loadout would usually put you a little further away from your team, so if you do that and get reinforced on the other end of the map, you won't have to run back to your carcass to pick up your weapons. I'll leave the decision of which support weapon to bring up to you guys. Let us know in the comment section which one you think is better, EAT or Quasar Cannon. And that is it for this video. I hope this helps you out in your mission to spread managed democracy. If it did, please don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.